I might have gone a little overboard buying used Pokemon games. I've spent the last 2 months going to every used video game store in my area trying to find different Pokemon games, and I've gotten quite a few. So let's see what kind of mysteries we can uncover in their old save files. Alright, in the games we got a copy of Red, Fire Red, 2 different whites, White 2, Black 2, 2 different copies of Y, 3 different copies of X, Sun, Omega Ruby, Heart Gold, and a copy of Diamond. This was probably close to $1,000 worth of Pokemon games that we're going to take a look at the save files. All right, starting off with Pokemon Red on our SP, we have ourselves. Let's try this one more time. Oh, hold on. You gotta give it the old Nintendo blow, right? There we go. And let's see what it's got. And nothing, because this one had a new save battery put in. I already knew that one, but that was just kind of fun. And now we're going to switch over to my capture cards for all the rest of them. That way you guys can see a cleaner picture. All right, we're going to start off with what I think is the least exciting and work our way to the most exciting, starting off with this copy of Pokemon Sun. I don't really know a whole lot of people that played Pokemon Sun over Pokemon Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, unless they played them in the order that they came out. So let's see what this person decided to do. And they are on Route 1 with played the game for only about 2 hours. I don't know what I'm hoping to expect here, but they have a Pichu, a Poplio, and I'm going to assume that these are not anything super special. And in the boxes, they have nothing else. So, like I said, least exciting. But let's move on to the other games. All right, here we have our first copy of Pokemon X. They have played the game for 460 hours and 54 minutes with 3 badges and 121 Pokemon in their Pokedex. That's kind of interesting. Well, let's take a look to see what Pokemon they have on their team. A Vivian, Wartortle, a Fletchlander, Chestnut, a Mora, and a Zangoose. That's kind of interesting. They must have a bunch of Pokemon. They said they have 121 Pokemon in their Pokedex. They must have something cool. All right, looking at their boxes, they don't really have a whole lot. They have a Pansage, a Skiddo, Carbink, Roggenrola, Bunnelby, and Pidgeotto. Nothing super cool, so I wonder what they spent all their hours playing if they only had gotten to the 3rd badge. But I guess we will never know. Let's move on to the next game. All right, we have somebody who's been playing for 28 hours and 2 minutes. Then we have 168 Pokemon in the Pokédex, 3 badges. Again, that's kind of weird. Let's see what they have in store for us. One of these games has to have a shiny Pokemon. Somebody's got to have reset for one. We have ourselves a Delphox, a Purloin, Fletchinder, Skiddo, Curlia, love to see it, and a Blastoise. That's pretty cool. I don't know where the Pokemon Center is. All right, taking a look at their boxes. They must have something cool. So, oh, they got quite a bit of Pokemon in their boxes. Well, 2 boxes of Pokemon. That's still more than the last one. See if they have anything of note here. Absol, that's kind of cool. Furfro, Scraggy. Nothing super out of what I would expect. They have Eevee and some evolutions. That's kind of cool. So overall, nothing like super crazy in this save file, but I mean, it's still kind of cool seeing that they've played for 28 hours and they only have 3 gym badges. They've caught a lot of Pokemon. At least there's that to see. All right. This Omega Ruby save file, we have Jordan, who has 2 gym badges, 41 Pokemon in the Pokedex, has played for 4 hours and 45 minutes. It's kind of crazy. And they are right outside Slayport. Let's see what Pokemon they had on their team. And they chose the wrong starter Pokemon. They have a Combuskin, a Poochyena, a Nuzleaf, Tailo, Voltorb, and Pikachu, the Rockstar Pikachu costume. That's pretty cool. Didn't expect to see that. I don't even know how you get that Pikachu. But let's take a look at their Pokemon in the box, see what they spent their 4 hours playing this game doing. And they have 4 Pokemon in the box. So they must have transferred the way a lot of their Pokemon, because they had like 41 in the Pokédex or something. But they have Tailo, Zigzagoon, Skitty, and Nincada. But let's go ahead and take a look at the next game. All right, we have another copy of Pokemon X with Tak as the trainer, but they are in this mysterious forest place that I don't know that I've ever been to. And we're going to run into a Noctowl and see Bubbles the Greninja. That's kind of cool, but we're going to run away from this. And they have all 8 gym badges, so they must have something in their Pokemon. So let's see, we have ourselves Bubbles the Greninja, Mr. Slim the Aegislash, Lulu the Crobat, Coco the Lucario, Vinny the Venusaur, and Sparkle the Helios? Yeah, I think that's what it is. So pretty cool. Cool. So we were on Route 20. Let's fly over to Snowbell City so we can take a look at their Pokemon in the box. I don't know if I have very high hopes for this one, but they do have some higher level Pokemon, so maybe they caught something cool. And they have... Oh, hey, they caught the Zygarde, which is pretty awesome. Xerneas. And Ken Carson the Mewtwo. That's kind of funny in their battle box. And looking at the rest of their Pokemon, doesn't seem like anything super crazy. They got a Zoroark, which is kind of cool. But overall, nothing I really wouldn't have expected on a normal playthrough. No shinies or anything like that, but at least they finished the game, and that's a pretty cool Zygarde and Xerneas and a Mewtwo. Who doesn't want Ken Carson the Mewtwo? Here we have our second copy of Y, which looks like the save is not there. Sad days for that game, but that is a-okay. We'll just move on to our last copy of X before moving on to the DS games, which I think are going to be way more interesting. All right, we have Ash, who also has 8 gym badges, 315 Pokemon in the Pokedex, and 59 hours played. Hopefully this one is cool or has something of note. All right, so it looks like they were training Pokemon when they were inevitably trading this game in. We have a level 80 Helioptile, a 78 Talonflame, Lucario, Greninja, Aegislash, and Venusaur. Looks like a pretty standard team for this game because, I mean, a lot of the other games had this same team as well. Let's go ahead and fly over to a Pokemon Center and see what kind of Pokemon they have in the box. All right, looking in the box, this does not look promising, with only box 1 having any Pokemon in it. Darn, so they must have traded their Pokemon to a new game. Weird that they didn't trade like their Greninja or stuff like that to probably Pokemon Bank. I'm not sure what that SPA symbol means at the top, but looks like we have just the Xerneas and Megumi, which is cool, and a Ralts that are here. All right, let's move on to the DS games, which will hopefully be more awesome. All right, first up we have Diamond with 151 Pokemon in the Pokédex, 0 badges, and they've played for 16 minutes. That is interesting, concerning, considering they only have a Chimchar in their party. All right. Well, let's go ahead and see what they have in their box on this copy of Diamond. And they have nothing. That is the strangest mystery that I've come across so far. They have 121 Pokemon in their Pokédex, yet they have nothing. Very interesting. Moving on. All right, now we have our copy of Heart Gold. Now here on these Gen 4 games, I kind of expect to find like some of the mystery gift Pokemon, but here we have Caven, kind of cool name, 34 hours and 27 minutes, 8 badges and 35 Pokemon in the Pokédex. and they're already in front of the PC. Perfect. But so we have ourselves a Dawn Fan, which met at Victory Road, a Nidoking caught in the Safari Zone, and a Noctowl, which is pretty cool. Now let's see. I feel like based on that team, they probably moved their Pokemon up, so this might not be very exciting. And oh, we have a little bit of Pokemon here. Looks like maybe just one box of Pokemon that weren't moved. Yep, just one box. And so we have Totodile, which is pretty cool. I wonder if that was their starter. Ponyta, Ampharos, Kadabra, so they didn't trade because they still have a Kadabra. Their Ho-Oh, I wonder why they didn't transfer their Ho-Oh. It doesn't know an HM, so that's kind of weird. And again, nothing of super note. This is going to be a very disappointing video if there's nothing in any of these save files. But that mystery of the 151 Pokemon with 0 badges and just a Chimchar, that was kind of cool, right? I think so. I think that was kind of cool. But moving on to our first copy of White, kind of the best Pokemon games that were ever released. These have to have something, right? Let's see. All right, our first copy of White. What do we have to see? We have Cameron with 8 gym badges, 156 hours, and 175 Pokemon registered. Let's see what they have. This looks kind of promising. It's spring in the game, and they're in the Pokemon Center, which is kind of cool. They have a Toad and a Scrafty. I don't know if this looks promising anymore because that means they probably have moved their Pokemon off of the game before trading it in. But let's check their boxes. All right, so we have box 2 is filled with Pokemon, and so they have a couple Pokemon, starting a Sigilyph and a Carablast. Okay, let's see. So box 4, Cragnole. I assume the Superior was their starter, and then a Reuniclus. Yep, it's on the screen. Then we have Litwick, Golurk, Heatmore, Zekrom, which is another why if they transferred their Pokemon, why did they leave Zekrom on here? But it looks like they might have done either the mystery gift event when a first came out because they do have a Darkrai, which is kind of cool. Met on 1/10/2010 through a Wi-Fi gift. That's pretty cool. I don't know what the actual like in-person gifts were, so they might have done the exploit to get these, but that means they have a Mewtwo, a really cool Pikachu that knows Fly, which is really awesome, a Zoroark, a shiny Palkia. Finally, we found a shiny Pokemon on these games, even if it's probably through the DNS exploit. They have a Keldeo, which is really awesome. Shiny Metagross, awesome. Yep, it's probably through the DS exploit. Meloetta, Carablast, another Pikachu, a Shelmet, a Cloyster, a shiny Dialga. Look how good this beautiful shiny Dialga looks like, and a Ludicolo from the Mystery Gifts. So that is pretty cool. We finally found somebody who actually like did the mystery gifts. That's kind of what I was hoping to see on these Gen 4 and Gen 5 games. Let's move on to our second copy of White. All right, on our second copy of White version, let's see. We have Justin, who also has 8 gym badges, Pokedex 427. I don't know how many Pokemon are in the Pokedex in this generation, but that is a lot of Pokemon and has played for 155 hours. Let's take a look. All right, they're inside the sports facility. They have an Arceus. Wow, and I believe that little pink symbol means it has Pokerus. So I'm going to call hacks, but who knows? Maybe they actually do with Emboar, Gardevoir, Rotom, Mewtwo, and Charizard. Let's see, this Mewtwo was found. Does it tell me? Oh, it was found in Johto. So I wonder. I don't think there was a mystery gift for that, but I know the Arceus was a mystery gift event in Johto. So I wonder if they did the DNS exploit or if it was actually legit. But let's go ahead and find a Pokemon Center and take a look at their boxes. All right, looking in their boxes, they do have 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes of Pokemon. That is looking pretty promising. Let's see kind of anything out of the ordinary. A regular Gyarados EV. We got ourselves a Tornadus that has Pokerus. Blastoise that has Pokerus. Wonder if they have any shiny Pokemon. Audino, one of my favorite Gen 5 Pokemon. They got the nice Volcarona. Meloetta, I assume from the Mystery Gift, which is awesome. Probably, realistically, probably from the DNS exploit, but you never really know. They have ourselves a Giratina, a Rayquaza, that I assume those are both transferred up from maybe Gen 3, maybe Gen 4. Who knows? Stunfisk, they have also a Thundurus, Genesect, which is pretty cool, Venusaur, a shiny Deoxys. I'm going to call hacks on this. I don't think that this is legit. It might be legit. There might be a legit way to have gotten this in Gen 5. I'm not really sure, but I'm going to guess hacks. Espeon, that's pretty cool. Typhlosion, Jirachi, which is pretty awesome with Pokerus, of course. And Virizion, another Rayquaza, that's pretty cool. Larvesta, Regigigas, Terrakion, another Meloetta. Then we have ourselves a Darkrai with Pokerus, Ho-Oh, or maybe that symbol doesn't mean Pokerus because it says Pokerus there. I don't know. We got ourselves a Kyurem, Flareon. Zorua is pretty cool. And doesn't look like... Ooh, a Rotom Fridge. That's pretty awesome. Charmander and Spiritomb. Got more Eevees, more Evolutions. And a Zekrom. Pretty cool. I did not expect that shiny Deoxys. That's honestly pretty cool. Even if it's not legit, it's pretty cool. All right, we have our White 2 copy with 6 badges, 117 Pokemon in the Pokédex, and 152 hours in game. What are these people doing with those? What are these people doing with those many hours in game? Like, seriously. Oh, we're in Reversal Mountain. Okay, that's kind of cool. We have ourselves... I wonder if this person was doing a Nuzlocke. Because we have Squishy, Zolt, Keanu, Lucy, Solar, and Fracture for our Pokemon. All right, we finally made it back to the Pokemon Center, and this is not looking promising. All that work, and they just have a Joltik and a Deerling. They must have moved all of their Pokemon off, or they just didn't catch a whole bunch of Pokemon to begin with. But we have one final game, so let's take a look. All right, on this copy of Black 2, they have 8 badges, 412 Pokemon in the Pokédex, and 94 hours played. This one looks probably promising because they've at least beaten the game, hopefully. And let's see what they have. It is autumn in their game. They're already in the Pokemon Center, which is perfect. And they just have a Cobalion. They probably transferred. So this is not looking good, but let's see what we have. And okay, they have a couple Pokemon in looks like just their box 2. They got a Togepi, which is kind of cool. Porygon, Dragonair, Zorua, and Aerodactyl. And that's about it. Kind of a sad ending to this video, but hey, we saw some shiny Pokemon, shiny legendaries, shiny Deoxys. That's super cool. So if you guys want to see more videos like this, hit that like button and let me know in the comments if you guys think that these games were worth the $1,000 that I paid for them. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.